Hey, what's up guys, it's Roy. I haven't done a video in a while, so I thought I would do one and show you what the latest is in the game. I guess it's been about a month now. I had a couple weeks where I took off. I had family visiting, and then my little brother stayed with me for about a month. And then I had more friends visiting, and I had more friends visiting at the end of this week. It's one of the perks of living in Florida. I guess everybody wants to visit you. And we have the final space shuttle launch this Thursday, so pretty stoked for that. But I have managed to get some game development time in. This last week or 2 weeks ago, I fixed up the object pool, added a lot more, I made it a lot easier to work with, and that was thanks to the 2D game. I was able to focus on that instead of actual gameplay stuff. I've done a whole bunch of optimizations to the game, and then lately I've done some texture work and a couple of stuff I'm about to show you. So first thing you'll notice probably is the textures. I dumbed it down a little bit. I had way too many textures before, and so I knocked it down to pretty much grass and snow kind of stuff, which you can see here. And another thing you'll notice is that now there's dirt, and so whereas before, if you look at in the center, all of that would have just been white, and then all that would have been green. Now the bottom cubes are dirt. Oh God, what did I do? There we go. And now the bottom cubes are dirt, and the top cubes are what the actual object is. So I'm going to go back to, I gotta find where my home world is here. I'm going to go back to that. I haven't done much with the world algorithm. I tweaked it just a little bit, but nothing too crazy. You see there's a cool view there. I'm going to fly back, save some time. Like I said, primary work has been to the textures. I'm not happy with the full texture algorithm itself. It's still based off the Y position, and I was toying around with it for a little bit, and I had some neat stuff, but it's too, I don't know, it's too predictable. Like I said, it's right on the Y. There's nothing really cool there. Let's head down this way here. So what else have I worked on? I did work on a little bit adding the artificial intelligence stuff to the game. That was really cool. I disabled it for now because it was annoying. I just made a creature that follows you around. It just kind of gets in the way, so I turned that off. Other thing I added was water, and so I'm going to show you that now. Let's drop in here. If you remember this is just my generic little hangout area that I created to work on the game. So I'm going to, actually, if you notice right here, there's a little glitch in the textures. I have to figure that out still, but it's no big deal. So let's start with water. Let's add some water in this little area here. It's kind of, it doesn't slowly come in, it just kind of attaches itself at the height it should be. If you notice, different waters are at different heights. That depends on what the current level is. And let's add it all over the place here. And add a little waterfall here. You see that spread all the way out here. This was kind of fun to program. It was hard to get right. I don't know, I'm sure there's some smarter way to do it. This is the way that I could figure it out. I'm going to jump up over here so we can look at the water. So you can see I added waterfalls. Essentially, if the water has something to fall down, if there's no cube underneath it, it's just going to fall down. If it's sitting on top of something, it'll spread out, and then slowly the source will become less and less. So let's look at this from a little further away. It looks kind of cool, kind of like a little moat thing for my little castle. But my favorite part when you play with the water is when you add it off things like this bridge. So I'm going to add it right there. And let's fly off the bridge and see how that looks like. So that's pretty cool, seeing the water fall down like a waterfall and then kind of pool out all over the place down here. The water's not textured yet, it just has a color. That's why it doesn't look that fancy. You can add a little pool in here. There you go, there's a little pool there. And it's cool when you add it to big structures, like I'm going to go over here. I know I'm flying around and I'm kind of breaking the rules of the game, but it's easier to work with. There's a little glitch right there, but that's alright, it's not perfect yet. So you see it creates a huge waterfall there, which is kind of neat looking. And it also drips over to the side over here. That's the basic gist of it. I haven't figured out how I want to do ocean water yet. I could probably use this same technique, but the problem is that would take a lot of overhead. See, there's not enough water here for it to completely go all the way down, but Light another source there. There, yeah, that one spread a whole bunch there. That's kind of cool. The other issue is I don't have it deleting water. Well, I do have it, but it's not thread safe. So if at some point the game crashes, it's going to be because the water didn't really do a good job of deleting itself. Let's add some more water here. So that's probably the biggest thing I've added so far. That was a little harder than I thought. For some reason, it took me a while to really figure it out. But once I got it, it's been a lot of fun to make, or play with rather. I've been making a whole bunch of cool little waterfalls. Let's see if I can. It's probably going to cause the game to crash, but let's see if it'll work. I'm going to come over here and make a waterfall sticking out of the mountain. Now, one thing I want to figure out is when I have cliffs like this, it'd be cool if they had a waterfall off the edge like that. I haven't exactly figured out how I'm going to be able to detect that while the game is actually generating things. Let's add one there too. Oh, and if you notice, the water pools together then when you when it comes close to each other. It just changes the level of any water that it interacts with. So now if you fly out here, that looks really cool out in the distance, seeing that waterfall there. So that's probably my next step, is figuring out how I want to have it automatically place water in the right spots. And if you notice, I don't have fog in the water. That's easily remedied. I'll take care of that later. But how I want to have it so there's ocean water, that's next on the list, and how it's going to automatically generate water. That's going to be, let's see, yeah, there's the bug. See how the water disappeared? That's no big deal. I'll figure that one out. But anyway, besides that, I haven't done too much. I think everything else should probably look the same to you guys. I worked on the control a little bit. I compartmentalize stuff a lot. If you look at my blog, I explained a lot more detail there. But basically, before I had input from the player being taken from a whole bunch of different places. The player took input. The main game loop took input. I think the world even took input. This is a pretty big newbie mistake, and I should have known better, but I didn't. So whatever. I made it now so all input comes from a single controller class, and it modifies the world. So the world itself is never modified unless it's from the, well, at least from the player, unless it's from the input class. I call that controller. And I think you guys have seen the clouds, and I guess that's it. Not that big of an update. It's really only the water was the cool thing that I wanted to add. I did toy with having infinite water. That was interesting to say the least. In fact, let me see if I have time. I'll tweak it real quick so we do have infinite water, so you can see what that looked like. So here you can see the base water class, and there's my water source. So let's just lower this water level down to 1 or something. This is probably going to freeze the game. You can see here in my main, this is my main water build loop, right? So I'll show off some of the we'll show some of the code here. So I'm going to go to my add water. I hope this recording shows you can see the code. Generate water. I'm sorry if I'm sniffling. Wife gave me the flu. Alright. It's here somewhere. Alright, add water source. So this does a whole bunch of checking to make sure water can be added there. It finds the chunk to add it in. And this is where anything that wants to add water is going to go through here. This line right here, that's getting a water source object from the pool. Everything goes through the pool. This is setting the level. I use a function to set the level. I could use a setter and a getter too. Basically, that makes sure that the level is never over 100. Type, right now all type is doing is differentiating between water that falls down like a waterfall and water that is on something. And the reason that is if water is falling down like a waterfall, we want its height to be 100% no matter what the level is, because it's falling down. But if water is flat, if it's on top of something, then we can lower it to show what its current level is at. And so let's go in our water source here, and here's the logic for what the water looks like. First thing we're doing is we're checking if there's a cube. Temp lock is set to the location of where the water should be added, and we lower the Y position. So here we're saying, is there a cube underneath? And if there is, let's check first if the water level is greater than 0. And all this whole section right here is doing is checking, is there a cube behind? Is there a cube in front? Is there a cube to the left, to the right? If there isn't, then we're adding another water source right there, right? And now this else right here was related to the initial. So this is saying that there's no cube beneath, right? And so this is a waterfall here. You notice that we're passing it in the current level, so that way it stays the same level. It doesn't lose any power. And then here's the type I'm passing it. I'm telling it this is a waterfall. And that's about it for this one. I set built just so I know that I can generate this. And so let's go now and see what infinite water looks like. I don't know why this find and replace thing keeps coming up. And we'll let that build for a minute. Water's been a lot of fun to program. Why it took me so long, I'm not sure. And it's definitely not fully done yet. Like I said, I don't have ocean water yet. I was able to make it so ocean water uses this same type of water, but it was a lot of overhead, and I didn't think that it would, as far as memory is concerned, I didn't think that it was very efficient. So I'd like to try and figure that out, spend some more time. Luckily, this isn't really a game that, like, I'm just doing this as a hobby. There's really no time limit for me, so I can continue to take as much time as I want. Alright, so here we are back in our normal old world. Nothing fancy, everything you guys remember. I'm going to switch to water, and wish me luck. Game froze. Oh yeah, it did not work. Alright, let's do this. What if we make it so, where's my water source? Instead of 1, we'll make it 5. This will at least give us 2 times as much water that there was before. What's that build? I don't know what this stupid thing is. It's building in the background, so give me something to look at while it's building. There we go. If you notice, the sky color is a little odd, and that's only because I'm going through. I'm assuming we're turning into daytime. I'm not sure. I have to see what that number is going up or down then. But I'm going to switch that to water automatically. Alright, and now let's try that again. That's infinite water. Not exactly infinite, but you can see what happens if the water barely has to lose any. Yeah, that pretty much took over that entire area. That's a lot of water there. You could see, let's see if I can get in here, show it a little better. I want to show you the level of the water. Well, see, like, look, see, the water there is just barely rising above the cube, as opposed to, I don't know if you can see that clear enough. That water there is about a quarter of the way up the cube. See if you can add some more water somewhere else to make it easier to see. Yeah, here's a good example. This is near the end here. See, the water's kind of below, and then it gradually gets more and more until we're right at the source there, which is about 3/4 of the way up to the cube. So that's it. Let's see if we can crash the game a little more before I end this. Just for fun. Let's add a water source here. Well, the game didn't crash, but now our entire hill is filled with water. Oh, that really drips all the way down. Alright, let's go and add water somewhere else. I'm going to add water at the top of this little, I don't even know what it is. See, it's making the game run pretty slow here. That's a lot of water. Alright, let's add it right here. Yeah, that one filled in pretty quickly because there wasn't much area for the water to go to. And the water just kind of pulls in wherever it can. I'm pretty much just going to keep doing this until I crash the game. I don't even know how much RAM it's taking currently. Ooh. Alright, let's look at that. Yep, you see it now. It's falling down into the valleys below. That is one hell of a lot of water. My favorites are where it falls over the bridge. I thought that looked pretty cool. Yeah, like there. You see the game's just jumping now. It's barely. Let's add water here. Where are we? And it goes falling over the bridge. Again, in order for it to really go, yes, that's why there's not much water there. Alright, we'll try one more time. Oh, there we go. Now I just broke it. Now, that error is actually probably because it's not thread safe. But anyway, I'll call that quits for this video. I hope you guys had fun. And I'll let you guys know the next time I make some changes. Thanks for watching. Peace.